Hi guys, welcome back to Live. We're here again with the wonderful ladies of the Shaki Fandom. And they're here again this week with another social issue that they would like to talk about. And this issue is something that all of us face as women some point in time in our life. Not actually some point in time in our lives, but almost every decision time in our lives. And this decision is not only about choice. This decision is about the facade of choice. And why I say it's facade of choice is because this decision really is not only about respect. This decision is about money. This decision is about self-respect. This decision is about options, and this decision is mostly about choice. And we're talking about choice. And when we talk about choice, it's not that women do not have the chops to do the same job. Women are deliberately making choices not to do the same jobs. Women are picking up jobs that are easier to do because they make a choice. They make choices of putting their families, of putting love, of their personal lives ahead of their jobs. Now that's one part of the story, but then the other part is career and love. The choice between should I be career oriented or should I focus on family, especially in their early 20s. So there are aspects of this that we will cover today, and we have ladies here from the Shaki fandom, and this came around because Anokhi had this issue last week, and to get a lowdown on what Anokhi felt and what Anokhi, the decisions that Anokhi has had to go through. Let's have Shreya tell us. Shreya, what happened with Anokhi? Let's get a lowdown on what happened with the series. And of course, there was a lot of romance and love, and we were all swooning the entire week. So tell us what happened.
This week was a perfect teacup and a storm in a teacup, I would say, because it had everything. It had drama, it had romance, it had like real hard life choices in it. So it was a eventful week. We had Shaurya, like breaking all barriers and going to Anokhi. Finally, their reunion happened, and that back hug with all its intensity. And then there was like 20 minutes of pure romantic bliss, like that rosy tinted glasses. Like we would like the world to see like perfect romance. And then shit hit the storm, and like Anokhi had that pragmatism to call out Shaurya and his biases against working women. And that permission thing, which some women found very on the nose, I found it perfect for Indian television for the audience messaging, because I mean it's not subtle, but it's good start, I would say. So that conversation was really permission and choices. It was really well done, well written. So
I
because
would
of
want to
that,
I want to talk about it later, but that
yes,
permission part was important
yeah,
because I know there was a lot of discussion around pseudo feminism and all that crap. But let's
fake
talk about it later. But
feminism,
carry
yeah.
on.
Yeah, so that happened, and then sure, then Anokhi rejected. Like she had that, vision and insight that I don't want to spend this my life with a guy that I know it's not gonna work out, because he and I have very very different ideology, and it was the crux, and it is the crux of the show. So because of that, this clash of ideologies, she rejected him, and that this part that he's so crazy in love with her that he lost his sanity for a moment, and he just went ahead and got married to her, which I don't consider it as a marriage, but like some people might do, because Sindoor Holi was played between them. So yeah, and Anokhi, I think she had like real balls that she called him out on that too. That you're forcing me to do this, which is not like right with me. And he sees her point of view, and he's like, okay, tell me what to do now, what to do to make you accept me and my love. And he has this like he is so much in love with her that he's willing to do anything to be with her. But there's a twist. He is still not a changed man, and he is calling her out on that too, that you're forcing me to change and do things your way, and I'm not ready to do it yet. So this is their friction points, I'm guessing. It's not going to be a smooth ride, and but it's definitely going to be interesting. And also the highlight today was that they're now finally addressing the student teacher taboo point in their relationship, which is not, I think, touched upon it so much in depth till now. But now I think they're taking it bold, and finally touching upon it, and I'm really interested to know how they'll take it. further.
I'm
So yeah.
interested about in that too, because remember we've had discussions, we've had debates about it and on the show earlier, on an earlier episode, and we didn't agree. We agreed to disagree, I guess, on certain aspects of
No,
it.
Scott and
Definitely,
I agreed. Like Scott and I agreed, and you and like certain people did. So yeah, let's
yeah.
that
We
discussion.
had a very animated discussion around it. I remember for sure. so this was a good one, but let's revisit that entire, agree to marry, that permission thing. From his point of view, he's saying, you just told me you love me and I love you, so where is this permission? That was his logic to it, right? He said, I was going to marry you anyway. Right? So that was his logic to this entire thing. Plus, I think he was in a shock. She's leaving him, and there was trauma associated with his mother leaving, and that triggered him, right? So he acted on a trigger, right? Sumi, um, do you agree with his logic over there? He didn't think this through, but do you agree with that entire logic?
He actually panicked the same way. I see you. If you think about from his perspective, as a 4-year-old boy, he had seen the same thing. His mother left him. She couldn't do anything to hold her back, and that is one trauma that has defined his entire life. He is not able to get past it, and it has left deep, deep scars. Now, finally, he has found somebody who he loves, who loves him back. And he's on the road to, finally heal. It's like he's on a healing path. And suddenly that person decides to, strike again where it hurts the most. So he completely panicked. For him, it was unthinkable. Like, how will he live if she goes away? It was actually like that for him, because he cannot. If there is a time that Anokhi actually leaves him, he will go on self-destruction path, because the kind of man he is, she is like the calm to his storm, and if she leaves, the storm will unleash, basically. So he did at that moment of time, he panicked. Same way when how he panicked when she was leaving to Chandigarh after that whole, you know, character assassination thing happened. Uh, he did what he thought he could do to keep her with him. Also, I think there is somewhere a sense of insecurity and okay respect to Shagun, because Shaurya in the talk with her, he mentioned very casually that he loves her, but technically he has never loved Shagun. So from Anokhi's point of view, he loved Shagun, but still he asked her to choose between love and career. And when she chose studies, he left her. He left Shagun. So will it be that easy for Shaurya to leave me? She would definitely think about that. For Shaurya, it was important to reassure her that no, you are the one for me. And I know it's a wrong way to do it. You cannot, just take out some sindoor and put it on somebody's forehead. But he just did it at the spur of moment without thinking, which is his character, technically speaking. I'm not defending him. What he did was wrong, but it is understandable why he did it. So now it is how he understands what he did is wrong and tries to make amends for it. This journey is now. This is the part where she will see that he's trying to be a change. A person cannot change in a flash like that. Like, okay, I love you now. I will remove everything that I have learned all my life, and I'll just let it go. It's a process that takes time. It needs patience, and it needs trust of other person as well. That yes, I trust you. It will take time, but I support you. So he needs trust from Anokhi, and he is willing to do that effort. Previously he was not willing to do that effort, that he didn't want to change. Now he wants to change. That is the first step of changing. If somebody wants to change, that is how you start. So I think he's on the right track. He did this mistake, but he will make amends for it. So yeah, I understand his difficulty there.
You understand the psychology here. But that doesn't answer the question of whether, he was right in doing it or not. Was this acceptable? He wasn't right.
No, he wasn't right. See, because you cannot put just sindoor like that in somebody's forehead and claim that you are my wife.
But
You
does that
cannot
mean
do that.
anything? Because I think that's the question that I would ask, because I don't understand a lot of these rituals. to the extent that you guys living in India do. Maybe I'm wrong here, but it's like I had Chandra called me scared. She's like, oh, what if I play holy and somebody does this to me? That means I get married to the guy. Literally, she was that scared. She's like, I'm not going to play holy anymore. Is this going to happen to me? So
In reality, it doesn't happen like that. Frankly speaking, there are hundreds of things that you have to do to get married in India. If you want a quick marriage, then it's a task. Frankly speaking, uh, in Indian TV shows, we take this with a pinch of salt. It has always been like that. If somebody fills your mouth, even in this show, they Shaurya points out, like, if it was 70s movie, I will cut my finger and put
that
my
was so
blood.
funny. Whoever
It has
wrote that
always
dialogue, I'll give them the award of the century. Dude, wow, yeah, so
It has
funny.
yes, it has always happened that like that in the past. Blood of a man, if it fills your mouth or your forehead, then you are married, or sindoor. Plus, here it was. I think one technicality here was it was a sindoor from temple, which makes it a little more like ritualistic. But of course, yes, in real life, that will not mean that you are married.
But he didn't
But
register it or something. So, I mean, does
yes,
that hold anywhere? I mean, like, literally, I don't
yes,
know.
in real life this marriage will not, I don't think so. I mean, I don't know, maybe in some parts of the country there could be, I have no idea about it. I don't think it is a proper marriage, but I think in Indian television and film, even film context, I think that is how they go. They take this with a pinch of salt. It's a creative liberty that they have been taking since like ever. So
Okay,
once
so we decide this marriage is a marriage. Done. Okay, perfect.
yeah.
Now her problems. Now I'm confused about what her problems are. So she starts with, you don't respect women because Shagun said that you don't respect women. All right. So her first problem is what Shagun brainwashed her with. As a middle class feminist girl, you're not going to let me study. All right. So that's her first problem. That you're going to be between me and my dreams. Then she pivots it to, you're a sexist person, and you will not change because you don't respect women. Then she pivots it to, I don't want to become like your mother. So she pivoted several times in the causes of what her problems with him are. I do not understand what her real problem is then. Just telling you, as a third party, she pivoted many times there with her problems. Anyone wants to take it, Supriya?
Yeah. So I think her real problem was her scare that she will not get her chance to fulfill the dreams that she had, for which she rebelled against her family, for which she came away from the family, and she fought for that SISC post to study there. I think that is where the problem came. I did agree with some of the things which she said, but I disagreed with some of the things which she made conditions like. The main thing, like the condition that she put about the mother, that I'm like your mother. You never tried to understand your mother. You were a kid. You were immature. Now you are not immature. Why are you not accepting? So that shows immaturity on her part too, because she never tried to understand what this little boy went through. A 4-year-old boy was abandoned literally by the mother for whatever reasons. Maybe good, maybe bad. I'm not blaming Shakun. I'm not blaming
You're
Asta.
you're right, because she was also privy to conversations between the mother and the father where the mother says it's our fault.
Hmm.
She's not taking that into account. Remember, she was there in the room, right?
Yes, yes. So even then, she was forcing him that you go and accept your mother without even hearing his point of view. I did not like it. I'm sorry. I disagree with that there, because it's not easy for a man to take away the scars of a 4-year-old and also being reminded time and again. Why is Shaurya like this? Because Shaurya has been reminded time and again by the family that your mother left you for her career. Your mother left you for her dreams. She didn't love you, so she left you. But that's not the truth. So nobody told him the truth. And even when he went to Asta also berated him, but she did not make an attempt to tell him the truth. And that's where I was very uncomfortable with the scene. We can come later. But I think uh, Anokhi is also quite a prejudiced girl. mainly because she's coming from an environment where she's seen misogynist men, where she's seen abusive men, where she's seeing that her mother was not allowed to go out, her sister was asked to kill her dreams. So she's coming from her own mindset and conditioning. So she's imposing that on the conversations she had with Shakun or the way she saw Shaurya treat Asta. So her main problem, I feel, is not Shaurya or Shaurya changing. Her main problem is to accept the fact that all men are not like a father or brother-in-law. There are men who will support you. There are men who don't believe in all this. You need to
But
give
but
that
but
judgment.
Supriya, she knows that because see her the way she looks at the cop is very different than how she looks at this guy. I mean, how does she not treat the cop like that? He's also a man.
Because the
Because
first
for the cop she doesn't have that feeling, so she's very safe zone. She's like in a friend zone, so she knows, okay, whether I get close to him or I do anything, I mean there is no uh, feeling of getting hurt because she already has that or has friend zoned him. But with Shaurya, she's not friend zoned him, so she's trying to build a wall because she wants her career, she wants her dream, and she does not want him to shatter that dream and the wall. So that is why she came up with all of these. I think one of the things which I liked about her statement, when she said that you permitting me to work and permitting me to dream, that's a very powerful statement, Miral, because I have seen that many times in marriages also, when two partners are getting fixed, then the boys will say, boys will put conditions that I want a housewife, or I want this thing, or I will allow you to work. Or even for working, like let's say a woman doesn't want to work, she wants to stay at home, be a mother, then the man will say, no, we need income, so why don't you work? So there again the choice is removed from
Of the
the
guy. The
woman.
guy is the deciding person. Yeah.
Guys, so they are permitting it. So that's a very powerful statement. Who is the guy to permit? It's the woman. She has to decide, and you have to respect the choice and the decision. I remember in very close case, she chose a guy who said, wouldn't say anything. He said, it's your wish, it's your choice, what you want to do, it's your choice. So she chose to be a housewife and later on work, but that was her choice. So it was not dictated by anybody. So that was a very powerful statement I felt, which Anokhi made, which I agreed with.
Yeah. So I'll just say something, and I'm gonna have you react to it. The thing with a lot of choices that women make is that a lot of choices that women make might not be as free as we think that they are. A lot of choices we make are based um, on the needs that we have, right? Right. Basically, a lot of choices we make are because we feel that there is this dire need for us when we're born. We're told that we need to be liked more than this entire thing about relationship is more important. You're the person that will put the family together. You're the person who has to maintain relationships. The cost of the relationship is more than the cost of your career, right? We're given all those things to manage, right? Then a woman is always told that the life of the kid is dependent on you, so your career comes later but the kid comes first, right? So these are things that are thrust upon us. So a lot of times that the choice isn't a free choice.
Yes,
Our choices are dependent on these extraneous factors um, that come with our choices. A choice of being The choice of being liked or the choice of being respected. Our lives, it is the biggest choices is that we need to be liked more than the fact that we need to be respected. We don't say things. We keep quiet because it's very important that everybody around us likes us more than they respect us. We don't negotiate for ourselves. We don't stand up for ourselves because our a lot of times our complacency is not really derived from free choice. And that is why when you say the choice has to be mine for Inoki, that's such a loaded question? Because a choice is loaded. We always end up, our choices are dependent upon so many other things that it's never a free choice. And I'm going to
But
leave that to the room. Let's discuss that.
yeah, so you are right. Choices are very conditioned by the environment of the women, and how they have been brought up. They are saying that you have to love, you have to respect the elders. These are the roles that you play. It again depends on the parents also. If the parents say that your self-respect is the maximum, so you do what is your not hurting your respect or ego, then of course. But I would also like to say, add here, it may be an unpopular opinion, that men also don't have a choice. Many men that we know of, because they have been taught that you have to take care of the family, you have to be responsible and earn income for the family. So many men, if they stay at home just for a break, they are pointed fingers at. If men are not able to take care of the parents, they are pointed fingers at. So it's when there is a loaded choice for a woman, there is a loaded choice for a man. Man does not say it out loud. It comes as he has a lot of choices, but many men that I knew, or colleagues that I knew, they were burdened by the family responsibilities. They were burdened by the family this thing. So but yes, women has more restrictions than men. So that's why.
No, I was just saying, Supriya is partly right that like we have many decisions to consider. It's not just us. Like we have to factor in many decisions while making a choice. For example, if someone is having a kid, they'll feel guilty. Like I would know if my mother is going to work, she would feel guilty. But I don't think my dad would feel guilty about going to work. That's a guilt, and that's not. It's just how we're biologically also programmed, and it's not. And I'm not saying it. I'm being very honest right now. I think it's like women are in general a better caregiver, and they're more emotionally in tune with their you know emotions for a kid rather than a dad. And I'm not saying that statement loosely. Second thing is my mom like had like stayed home like for 25 years, and then she was a housewife for 25 years, and then she started working. Like now she has her own business, and she did it like because she had free time, and we were all grown up, and she was like, "Hey, I don't want to make kids my whole life." And that was a choice that she made after 25 years, and now she's doing really well. Like she's even like doing so well. My everyone in my family is surprised that we didn't know you could do it. The thing is, it's just about the trigger. Like if you tell a woman that you should do, like it should come from within, I feel. Even like for example, if I am looking a guy right now, I am educated, so I won't give up my education or career for anything and anyone, be it anything. So I don't know. I think this choice thing is also very loaded. Men and women don't get playing fields ever. Like I don't think any guy would be asked that. Okay, now you're getting married. So how like do you want a working wife, or would you allow would you want a wife who would allow you to work? I don't think they get asked this question ever.
No, I'm sorry, but I don't know any man that's ever been asked. Now that you're getting married, would you like to continue with your career, or sit at home?
No. Yeah,
I don't
exactly
know
my
any
point.
man that's ever been asked that question. Scott, have you been asked that question ever?
See,
Now that you're
that's the
getting
thing.
married, would you mind sitting at home now and cook?
Yeah,
Or I mean,
exactly.
I love cooking as a career. I mean, I have nothing against people who sit at home. Absolutely nothing against whom who are caregivers, sit at home. Absolutely nothing. But the choice, it's not a matter of what you do. It's the choice has to be yours. Whatever you do, the choice cannot be loaded. The choice has to be free choice, not because you are the caretaker of something. You're supposed to be the caretaker because the gender roles are so predefined. Who defined these gender roles? Sumi. Let's talk about gender roles. How do we this gender role system is getting to me. Let's talk about gender roles.
I would like to say one thing before that, Mira, like about choices as we are discussing. I like to give my example. See, I was a career woman before I had a baby, and it was completely my choice to take a break from the career. It was, in fact, everybody, even my husband, my in-laws, my parents, they were like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" Because you have worked hard for all this time, you have a good career. I mean, do we really want to do? Because once you take a break, it's always said, it's difficult to get back in that field again. So are you really want to do it? And I had absolutely no pressure. It was completely my decision because I wanted to do it. It was my choice. And now I'm doing this role. I am at home and I'm taking care of my son. It gives me immense happiness. But I also know after a couple of years, I'm going to go back to my career role. And again, it is going to be my choice. So it is like there is no, for me, it's not like what do you choose? You either choose a career or you choose a family. You can choose both. You can do both simultaneously, or you can do one at a time, or you can just do one. But as you said, it has to be the person's choice. And it is definitely a
Now,
lot of
let me put it clever right there. Right there. Choice. Now, when it's the choice for the woman, it needs to be choice for the other party as well. Because hey, feminism is not about women getting more rights than men. Feminism is about equitable. It's about choice. Feminism happens then when everybody gets the same choices. And everybody, all the provisos are off the table. Everybody has the same options, everybody has the same choices, and everybody's able to make the same choices with the same amount of freedom. Then how is it that choices exist for Anokhi, the same choices don't exist for Shaurya? He's got all these levers, he's got all these provisos, he's got all these T&Cs, terms and conditions. He doesn't have a choice. He only gets a wife if he does some stuff.
so
How is it equitable? How is it feministic for him? Because hey, his feminism is not working for him.
yes, actually that is unfair of Anokhi. Like as Supriya said, it was unfair of her to ask him to make such a choice of a topic where she does not actually have a background on. She does not know
Not
what
only have a background, but for him
she does
for
not have.
him not to have a free choice. It's his choice.
Yes.
It's his
Yes.
relationship. It's his choice.
Yes, but she's also thinking, here again, it's also like she considers her as a mother. She's also thinking Astha would want to come back to the Sabharwal mansion,
She
but
cannot
she
think
has
for
never
another
asked
person.
them.
It's not
She
her
has
job
not.
to think for another person. This is
Exactly,
not
but
her
she has.
choice to make. It is Astha's choice to make. It's his son's choice to make. It has to be organically done.
Yes, so she's thinking wrong on both parts, both for Shaurya as well as for Astha, because even if Shaurya asks her to come back, Astha is not going to come back like that. So yes, I agree. It is not a right decision, right choice of like she should not put a condition to accept the marriage. Not because if he gets Astha back, I will accept the marriage. The marriage has to be based on her trust on him and his love to her. The decision has to be based on these two relationships, relationship of them, not on the third party who is going to come in the house or not.
So
So here,
that wasn't based on feminine. That wasn't based on choice. That's not a factor that should have come in between. That was not feminist writing at all. Totally
no,
out
that
of whack. Totally out of whack. Agreed. Now, Shreya, you wanted to say something.
Yeah, so earlier we were talking about Ahir and like how is Ahir different than Shaurya. So I'll tell you what, the way they both were introduced. So when
Hmm.
Ahir was introduced, he was introduced to Anokhi through a specific lens. Like he was a savior of women who respected women, who was very polite. He always used to, respect women and all. And when Shaurya was initially introduced to Anokhi, he was also that savior, savior. She also had put him on pedestal because he had also saved Bubbly initially. But after the library incident, when he character assassinated her, her thinking flipped about him. That this guy is not, he's not perfect. He has his issues. And then, Devi announced their engagement, and Shaurya didn't stand up for Anokhi. You know, he just let Devi make that announcement, and Anokhi had to, get embarrassed in front of everyone, and she had to leave. So she had seen him not taking a stand for her publicly. So her apprehensions about him are totally valid. That क्या guarantee है कि आप मेरे लिए आगे stand ले सकते हैं? Because she can see clearly history is repeating itself. Shan has not taken a stand for us in all these years. Same way, Shaurya has also not publicly taken a stand for Anokhi as of yet. So he needed to see that, side for, and she's like, how do I judge that you have changed or not? So I'll take, how can I just take your word for it? Which is fine, because she had her biases and it's not coming out of thin air. He had like seen glimpses of him, his misogynistic behavior, and plus he admitted that he made like he forced Shagun to make a choice about career or her education, her love. So she has seen both of them. So all her apprehensions were not invalid. I wouldn't say that. And plus, this is the first show that they have shown ambitious women, and they are not the vamp. So that's my beef with every ITV, that they, idealize a certain, they just show one kind of women as ITV lead. The one who's, binding the family, who's taking care of everyone, who's serving everyone tea and coffee. And, so this is the first show where they're showing a woman is actually serious about her career and she doesn't want to get married. And, and she's not emotional. She's very practical. That doesn't happen a lot. Like no ITV lead has the guts to call out a man, say, I'm choosing my career over you. I don't think that's how it happen. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. I could be wrong.
No, I think you're right. There needs to be a reboot on this entire concept of feminism, and of course, this is an advancement on the entire concept of choice. But I'm just pointing out that there is a big gap in thinking about feminism. You can't think about feminism without you can't give choice to one party and no choice to the other party. You can't throttle the other party without. Feminism is not about empowering women by throttling the men. It can't happen. Feminism, the men empower women. So men are the empowering power for the women. You can't have feminism leaving men behind, or killing men, or being mean towards men. That is that's savagism. That's not feminism. So that this entire anti-men stance is evil. That cannot be defined as feminism. We need to come out of it. We need to come out and define. And I think ITV needs a feminism reboot in a very big way, and we need to talk about it. And the way feminism has been defined here is very basic. It's a 1970s feminism. I need choice. That you need choice. We get it. Everybody needs choice, but choice is such a loaded thing when you put so much you put so much pressure on choices. You first tell the woman that every goddamn responsibility in the world is yours. The responsibility of maintaining the relationship is yours. The responsibility of the kid is yours. The responsibility of peace of the world is yours. The responsibility of food and belongings is yours. And now here's the choices that you have. You first funnel it down for her and then say, here, no, make the choice. That's no choice. Your choice is not independent of all these other extraneous factors. So first, let's talk about that. Let's bring the choices to be equitable between men and women. Right? Let's make the field leveled. So that was one point. All right, if women get the choice. Now, why are women still, there's this guilt factor that women have. They still go ahead and pick up jobs that are not as high paying as men pick up. Men get into competitive fields, and women go and pick up jobs that are more caregiving, that are less paid, because they feel that if it's less stressful, they can take care of the home better. They get more time for the home. They deliberately go pick up less paying jobs, and therefore the wage gap becomes bigger. Now, a couple of things that how it impacts is women become less wealthier as a group, and because they're less wealthier, then the power, the purchasing power that women as a group have becomes less. The wallet that women hold becomes less, and they become less vocal. They become a less purchasing. They have less purchasing capacity, and therefore less influential. So this all trickles down to the voice of women as a whole, and this has repercussions in an economy. This has repercussions on their rights. This has repercussions on their ability to negotiate for themselves. This is big. So the guilt that women have, that they come with, it's not something that they're born with. This is something that society gives to them at different parts of different times in their lives. This is something that we give to them as a society. How do you tackle that? And this is not something that we don't have. We all come with it. That now that you're a woman, now that you're a girl, you have to grow up and do this. This is your duty to us. This is your responsibility. This is what you will grow up with. Your first port of call is going to be your children, your family. This is what we're given. This is what we're taught. How do you grow out of it? Are we going to be bad girls if we're told no, it's not? It's you, yourself, and your career. Are we going to be called bad girls? Let's talk about it. Let's have a Sumi.
Definitely not, but then yes, also, because if you choose a separate path, I have faced it, to be very honest. So I'll just give you my experience. Initially, when I started out, I decided that I will be a very career-oriented person because I wanted a family too, and I decided to have a family and all. So I decided to be a career-oriented woman. And then obviously I was growing in my career, but then there were people, men around me, families around me, who were saying that, why are you, I mean, what about your family, what about your marriage? And I was like, okay, when it'll happen, it'll happen, but right now I'm focused on my career. Soon I decided to be a single mom by choice. And then I get messages that you are a career oriented woman. So how can you decide to be a single mom by choice? I was like, how will you give time to your kid? I was like, both are not interchangeable. I can still give time to my kid by having a career too. And it's my choice, isn't it? And slowly I did that. But then there were a set of people who accepted my decision. There are a set of people who called me a rebel also. They said, you have chosen to rebel against the society. To answer your question, to come out of that guilt, you need a change not just in the society, but in the workplaces also. Because in workplaces, when we are working, then people are like, oh, if a child comes in and disturbs your room, you get very upset. Men don't get upset. They are very cool about it. And
It's cute if a child comes and disturbs a man. It's not cute if a child comes and disturbs a woman.
yes, but then fortunately, I had good women leaders whom we could look up to. And one of the women leaders said, it's okay if the child is disturbing me. So in the one of the conferences only, she said that, my child messed up all my settings. I'm not able to do it. So give me just 5 to 10 minutes. I'll just do it. So she was trying to give that confidence also. And then that builds confidence. So if you really want to get out of this guilt factor, you need a lot of women leaders to come out and say, hey, it's okay. We can still manage our family and careers. We can still do this. You need not feel guilty. So the woman tends to feel guilty on two counts. One, she's not giving time to her family. Two, she's not being productive at workplace. And that guilt is not there for a man.
I want
And
I
that's
want to
when
go
I
to I
said,
want to go to Sumi and now Supriya. So Sumi, what do you say about that? You've been through this. Tell me.
Actually, I think it's also one double-edged sword. Suppose somebody who is a career-oriented woman, and for some reason, suppose you get a job in some other city, you have a family in another city. Now you have to make a decision: what should I do? Where should I go? If a woman chooses career, then obviously she'll be called as no, you are just a career-oriented woman. You are neglecting your family. If she chooses family, people are going to kind of ridicule her, like you have worked so hard
Excuse
today.
me, excuse me, excuse me, Sumi. Who are these people?
There are people in the workplaces. There are people who even
How,
like in your
are they paying your bills? Who are these
no, but
people?
they
Why do they matter?
people who like to pass judgments on everything that the other person is doing. These are those people, who have an opinion about everything that happens in other people's lives, and we are unfortunately surrounded by so many of them in different areas of our life. Not just family, at workplaces, acquaintances, and so on and so forth. So I think like as Supriya said, workplace support, leaders who understand what it is to manage both and not feel guilty about, as well as a home support is very important in that. So that family, if a family stands by a decision, that guilt will go away because they understand what you're doing is right. Why do you feel guilty? Because you somehow think that you are doing something wrong, that because you're choosing one thing, you are neglecting the other thing. So when you have people who support you, who tell you that it is not like that, you are doing the right thing, and we understand where you're from, that guilt goes away. And I have seen that. I have been guilty. I have been made feel guilty of leaving my job, not from my family, but from people who are like acquaintances. Even friends have asked me, what kind of stupid decision is this, leaving something for leaving such a good career for, you can always manage a child. I said, I know I can manage, it is my choice. So when my family supported me, that's okay, we are okay with you either ways. We are okay if you want to continue career and family, or we're okay if you want to continue only family. So then that guilt stops. So the support has to be from every part of society, workplace as well as home. And that is, if we start teaching people that if you are making a choice, do not be guilty about it. That is how it's a long process, but I think that is how you start with it. That's
Okay,
what I
so
would.
Shreya, you want to say something about that?
Yeah, I have 3 points to make. First, I'll start with the anecdote. Like, I don't have a kid, but I am the child and I'm someone's child who's working. So I can tell you from personal experience. So I had this thing when my mom started working like crazy hours. I got like very pissed off at her. I was like, why? Like, how are you not giving me time? I was so used to getting her time and all. And she made me, she just asked me one question. Your father has been working for 26 years. He is a workaholic. He doesn't come home for like hours and hours. Do you ask the same question to your father? And that shut me up like anything. And I just realized that I had this crazy, unrealistic expectation that my mom, and see, this is the thing, we glorify women as, multitaskers. Stop glorifying that. And
Superwomen. Why?
yeah,
Why are we expected to be doing
exactly.
everything perfectly? Why
Yeah,
do women have
like
to be perfect? We can be
exactly. Why do you
slackers and
have
be
to?
fine, right? We
Exactly.
don't
Why
have
do
to
you
be
have?
perfect.
Yeah. Why do they have to balance everything? They can do, like, it's about priorities. Right now, her priorities are work, so she should focus on that. And if her priorities are house, she could like, focus on that. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, stop making this thing that, oh, only those women who can balance both are good women, and those who can't, you should make them feel guilty. Exactly. So this perfection, like this pressure of even for a working woman to be perfect and balance her family, that is unrealistic. So we should stop glorifying that. This my second point was the thing about finances that you talked about. So the thing is in India, usually the son gets inherits the family properties and the money. So that is why the daughter doesn't get the same agency that a son might get.
Even
So
now,
no,
even now, by law, daughters don't get the same money as by law.
by law
No,
you
no,
get, but
no.
it's the
Mm.
societal thing. So because of that, but it's slowly it's changing. That's what I'm saying. Slowly it is changing that now daughters are also inheriting their properties and all. So that situation is improving. But then my point was why has been happening for so long is that they didn't have that financial agency that a guy would have. And the third thing was like in my home, I don't know, and I think it's the same for major city like things. My brother is also taught that you should also do your own work and you should share. It's not just a woman's job to do all the household work. It's the conditioning. If your
All the
mother,
work. Gender roles is very important. Somebody woke up long time ago and decided women have to do this job and men have to do this job. That's untrue. All jobs are for every people. Nobody laid it out in stone that this is a woman's job and this is a man's job. All jobs are for all people. There is nothing called women's job and men's job. Supriya, I wanted to say something. And we have to wrap up now, so this is the last round.
Yeah, so
Supriya.
for gender roles, there is a clear demarcation that man is an earning member, woman is a natural,
That was when they
and
had to hunt elephants and
yes,
all. Not anymore. As long as the men are not hunting elephants and sheep and goats and
no,
tigers
no.
anymore, if they're
Let
not hunting, they can wash dishes and they can
I
clean and cook. They need to.
I
Which
feel
is how it has to be. There are companies, international companies, that when a kid is born, men get paternity leave. It is for them to support their
yes,
wives, because childbirth is not only a woman's problem, it's a man's responsibility as well. Men have to step up. Now, having said that, we are talking about gender roles here. This is the time for men to start rethinking, for women who have sons to start retraining. Let us leave this old thinking behind. Women who have sons, please train your sons. uh, Tell them to get out, train your sons to get out of this gender role 19th
No,
century thinking, which is not what women of today are expecting out of their partners going further. And honestly, this should be taboo. When women of today get married, they should check this with the men. This should be one thing that they should take off. Do they believe in gender roles or not? So hey, listen, as a society, let me just close this now. As a society, it's entirely up to us women. And I have said this to you guys before, and I'll say this to your fandom once again. We have to take all the negative words and convert them into positive meanings, right? This is our power as women, right? So if there is something that has a negative connotation, let's convert that into a positive action, right? So what do you want to do with this today's conversation? What is the action that you want to take? One is the fact that the takeaway is that, as women, we should not feel ashamed about responsibility. We should not feel the responsibility. As women, there is nothing that we should feel responsible for in terms of, this is our duty or this is our responsibility. As women, we should feel responsible for exactly the same thing as our brothers, as the men of the family feel responsible for. There should be no difference in the responsibility we feel for our family and what they feel for the family. Equity is what we demand, and equity is how we should be looking at things too, right? So there should be no extra pressure on our choices. That's one. The second thing is this entire concept of pressure from a family, from our extended family. What people are going to say, please take it away from. What people are going to say does not matter, because those people will never pay your bills. They're not going to be the ones who get hurt. They're not going to be the ones who will cry. They're not going to be the ones living your life. You are going to be the ones living your life. Your choices are going to be the ones determining your life. So please stop thinking about log kya kahenge. That is the biggest disease that our society has. Log kya kahenge. Stop, please. Log kya kahenge? कहने दो. Doesn't matter. लोग क्या कहेंगे, कहते रहेंगे. तुम कुछ करोगे भी नहीं, फिर भी लोग कहेंगे. That is the reality. तुम करोगे तो कहेंगे, नहीं करोगे तो कहेंगे. तो करने दो. तुम अपना काम करो. Right? The third thing being choice. अपनी choices को free रखो. अपने लिए जो आप करना चाहते हो, अपनी capability के हिसाब से करो. लोगों के कहने पे नहीं करो, अपनी कैपेबिलिटी के हिसाब से करो, अपनी चॉइस के हिसाब से करो. Choices are important, and free your choices of all these encumbrances of ये प्रेशर वो प्रेशर. अपनी चॉइसेस के हिसाब से करो. एंड लव और करियर चॉइस नहीं है. आप सब कुछ कर सकते हो. You can do all of this together. लव और करियर, जैसे अनोखी बोलती है ना, लव और करियर, वो चॉइस नहीं होता. नहीं, आप सब कुछ कर सकते हो साथ में. Choose your partners carefully. Choose partners that support you. अगर आपके साथ आपकी वो एक चॉइस आपकी लाइफ बना सकती है और बिगाड़ सकती है. Choose your partner carefully. That is the most important choice in your life that you will make, because that one person can either take you far or it can destroy you. So all these things are very important. Anything else I'm missing here, girls? I think we summarized it, right?
I just want to say one quick thing. So this thing is like a progressive people would say, I am raising my daughter as my son. And I was like, no, raise your daughter as
Raise
a daughter.
daughter, but raise your son to think about himself as a daughter. Because we raise our daughters to think about everybody else. Raise your son to think of everybody else too, right? So I will leave it there. We have to wrap up right now. We're kind of out of time. So this was fantastic, girls. Again, another productive session. We have findings here, and we have things that we can take back to the fandom and turn it into action as usual. Thank you. You guys have amazing week. And we'll be back here next Saturday again talking about what we're going to talk about next week will be dependent upon what you guys bring to us, right? Another topic of advocacy. Lovely having you here, Sumi, Supriya, Shreya. We were saying Manushi today, she wasn't feeling well, and we'll have her back again with us next week. Thank you for being here again. Take care. Scott says bye. He's sitting right here. He's enjoying this California sun. And well, guys, bye. See you again. Have fun, Sharky fandom. Take care. Bye.